So you guys, how was that? How was the doula training over in Indu season? I'm so sorry I came late. I didn't really get to, I missed the first part. So tell me about it. What was it like? How were the new doulas? Because I only knew one and one I had met before. So what did you guys think?
Who do you want to start it, Nicole? I don't mind, or
Oh,
you
go for it.
can. Okay. I think it's pretty good. It was interesting to see a lot of them. Like I had not heard of them before. Some of them were following us on Instagram, and I'm like, I had never heard of you before. So it's
Yeah.
really interesting to see who's out there, especially since we'll be more, well, not more, but since we have clients that live further, like Wesley Chapel, Zephyr Hills area. So it'll be nice to have some references there for people who are looking for doulas.
Were a lot of them
Sorry, I'm
from
like,
that area?
Yeah,
actually,
I
I
know.
don't.
Well, a couple said they lived
Mm,
like 5 minutes away from that birth center. Um, I know one lives in like Spring Hill area, so that's a bit of a drive. Um, the other one I think is in Tampa, I
Mm-hmm.
think.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Somebody
they're kind of
said
all over.
Waimama, right? Yeah, that was a pretty good spread.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, they all seemed, really eager to learn that new information and like want to be able to help potential VBAC clients. And yeah, they all just seemed really interested in it, which is good. Because we definitely need lots of doulas in the area because they get booked so fast. um, but like actual knowledgeable doulas that will be hands-on and helpful with you in labor um and all of that. So yeah, no, I was impressed by the group there.
Mhm.
And hopefully we'll get to see them and work with them more as time goes on.
Yeah. And I mean, doulas are so important because, as being the clinical person for our clients, we are the ones who have to make that decisions at the end of the day. We're the ones who are monitoring the heart rate. We are the ones that are doing all of the clinical. So doulas are so awesome in the sense that they are supporting the mom and the dad
Mhm.
because I do think that a lot of people may not hire a doula because the father feels like, oh, well, I can take care of my wife or my partner or any other you know um couple may be like, well, I can do that. But in the sense, really, I feel that doulas enhance the relationship and enhance the whole process because when the partner needs to tap out for a few minutes, the doula is there to step in and vice versa. And I always recommend that they, work as a team, just like they can work with us as a team.
Right.
Mhm.
That's the important part. And then also one of the things I always recommend is, you know, possibly coming to your appointment just to meet your midwife because that's super important also. And I mean,
Mhm.
as starting out as a doula, I'm pretty picky. I won't you know, deny that. But also, there are just so many factors. And I know that they are doing prenatal appointments and they're doing the education part with a lot of their clients. But if we need to also just make sure that they're also on the same wavelength as their midwife,
Mhm.
because we are the
Mhm.
ones there supporting mom at the birth. But then at the end, and I know I always say this in a meeting, at the end, my job is to make sure that mom and baby are safe and that
Mhm.
I am there to protect their lives and to guide them and also unfortunately sometimes make the hard decision to transfer, and that is out
Mhm.
of that obviously that's always a conversation to have unless it's an emergency
Mhm.
with mom and mom and partner. But they're they're worth their weight in gold. I definitely say that all the time. They're worth their weight in gold. and have one. And
I do. Everyone should have a doula.
Yes.
And doulas and midwives really need to, I don't know, I think we need to do better together, because I know
mhm,
for myself, like I'll be like, "Oh, did you hire a doula?" And they're like, "Yeah, I hired so and so." And I'll be like, "Oh yeah, she's great." Or if I've never heard of them, I'm like, "Oh, I've never heard of them, but we'll see at the birth." And I think there should be some meeting in between, because we are a team and we need to make sure that we are trusting of each other in regards to our client Susie Q. Yeah, I just think that we all need to do better. I'm thinking more so of myself, like I need to do better, because even if I know them, I'm like, oh, you'll be fine. But like, there's every birth, every person is different. So like, there's different expectations that are going to come about. And yeah, I think it'd just be better to like meet with them so we can all be on one accord, which is
Yeah.
bringing a baby safely earthside. So
mhm.
Yeah. No, I
I
agree with that.
think, sorry, I remember the point that I was really wanting to make. um, I think a lot of us forget how pivotal of a moment birth is. Like, as the birthing person, you are kind of straddling this life and death line. You're like in a different realm where you're bringing your baby earthside, and that can sometimes be a not so smooth transition. And
Mhm.
so having someone there who's trained and knows what to do is important, but also having someone there who is trained to emotionally support in that moment. Because I know for me, I kind of like tunnel vision on the issue. So if I'm dealing with a hemorrhage or I'm resuscitating a baby, I'm not thinking about the emotions of everyone overall. And so that's where I love when doulas step in and they know what I'm doing. So I love to see them at these trainings, so they know like, okay, these are the steps of what the midwife is doing. Like, this is how I can talk to my client, the doula client, through this, so that way we're not all freaking out, because it is hard. And I know like in NRP training or in midwifery school, they're like trying to tell us like, you got to make sure you engage with the parents. But in such a pivotal moment where my brain is thinking every second counts for this baby or for this person, I'm not thinking about emotions. Like I can't, like I'm not doing anything egregious, but like I'm just making sure like, okay, I'm doing my chest compressions or I'm breathing or I'm suctioning, and I'm not thinking to say out loud like, okay, mom, like it's going to be okay, because one, I feel like I'm not in control, so I don't feel comfortable being like it's going to be okay if I'm not 100% sure it's going to be okay
Right.
until that baby or that mom is on their way to the hospital where they can get the services that they need. But yeah, I think everyone tends to forget how like that moment can be very beautiful, but it's very important because we're kind of straddling life and death there. And so making sure
Yeah.
that everyone is in their appropriate role is important, and everyone in those roles are on the same page and working together.
No, I totally agree with you that it's
Yeah.
important to have those clearly defined roles and like make sure that the person in front of you or people in front of you after baby's born are all taken
Mhm.
care of appropriately, whether it be clinically slash medically or emotionally and spiritually and mentally. All of those aspects are important, which is exactly why we need doulas and more of them.
Yeah, we
um,
do.
a good training. And I got to meet some new doulas that I had never met before. I know I'm a newer midwife, so I haven't been in this area very long and like gotten to meet all of the doulas. So that was nice to get some connections in like different parts of the area. And yeah, I'm excited to work with them now. Like now that I know that they learned some good information and they'll be good doulas and all of that. And
Mhm.
also the ones that are already practicing, they're all pretty great too. So excited to continue working with
Yeah.
them.
I know that when, obviously I trained a long time ago, but my trainer is actually still training. And actually, she's trained for most of the midwives that have gone through FSTM, up until probably the last couple of years, Ray Davies. So one of the most important part of being a doula was being there for the mom in early labor, because that is the part where they don't know what's happening. They're like, wait, am I in labor? Am I not in labor? Is my contractions, my gosh. They're all using their apps on their phones now, which didn't exist many years ago, where the phones will literally tell them, go to the hospital. And I heard a story recently where a client called their midwife from the hospital, and she's like, why are you there? And she's like, well, because the app told me to go to the hospital. Right. They literally took what their app said for, for real. And literally. And, so I think that art of a doula being there in the early parts of labor and in the active part of labor has maybe gotten a little lost. They think that the most important part is transition and the birth, when really it's not. It's early labor and active labor to guide the partners, or maybe not. Maybe it's, maybe they're single, and that's, but that is when they really need the doula the most. And really, they should be going to their home. Well, they will be, because for us, but they should be showing up, supporting them and guiding them. Sorry.
Birth is mental. Labor is a big mental thing. I feel like it's the mental component of labor is bigger than the physical. We know that if you are starting off in a bad space, it's going to be really hard to get back to that, and you just really need that support there because it's important. Now, I don't mean like your client has one contraction and you have to be over there. But when they're coming consistently and your client is struggling a little bit, you should be there for them. Like that's when the doula is really important, right? To like help get through this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I agree with Michelle. It's the lost art.
I think that that's important for us, at least for me, and I think you guys felt the same way, that that is an important part of the job. And I don't know if it's just different trainings, different certifications, but I think making our expectations of what we, feel is important is also important to express to the doula and to the client. One thing I do say, and I didn't get to say this before, I tell them that if your doula wants to check your cervix, do your baby's heart tone, take your blood pressure, they are not the doula for you, because then they are doing clinical things that is not in their scope. And technically, they're practicing midwifery or medicine without a license, because anytime that they internally or, do anything to assess, no. So, so then that might take some doulas out of the picture, but that's just
I think it just puts a little responsibility in the family's hands of when you're doing your research and interviewing doulas, like make sure that you are getting someone that aligns with your values, but that is practicing safely, and doing the things that they should legally be doing and not doing things that they shouldn't be doing. I just think that is an important thing to note on, as people who love the birthing community so much and are so into it, so much so that they've created their own little space of birth world, which is fine and dandy for them and those that choose that. But just make sure that when you are searching for your providers or building your care team, that you have people in place that are doing what they should be doing and how they're supposed to be doing it.
Exactly. But I mean, the more doulas I meet, I welcome them. I mean, I want the world needs more doulas, and I don't know, obviously what will happen in the future with insurance payments and all of that stuff, but that's here nor there. That's, their path to figure it out. But yeah, that's I love them. I hope we have more of them, and I want to meet more, I love
Yeah, me too.
meeting the ones that we met. I didn't get their cards and unfortunately I won't remember
I
their name.
got two, and one of them followed me on Instagram. So we have some new doula references that I know Nicole is going to add to our website. So
Yes, I'm doing that today.
Awesome. Dude, awesome.
perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, cool. Yeah, I think overall though, it was good. A good
Awesome.
meeting or a good training. Yeah.
Good. Okay. I'm
Mhm.
glad we went.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay.